This is the last piece that I need when I'm squaring up sheet goods. So far we've got the track spacer, couple sets of these parallel guides, some track clips, and now we're on to this. This is basically a large one of these. To start with, I start with a piece of plywood. It's 4 foot, and it started out at 2 foot. I cut this flat off for a specific purpose, but it started out as 4 foot by 2 foot. On this long edge, I have a piece of 1/2 inch thick hardwood glued on and then trimmed flush. On this short edge, there's a piece of hardwood 1.5 inches wide and about 3/4 inch thick that's glued on to this the short side. And this is the end that's the most important. So when you're putting this on, make sure that this plywood edge is cut is as straight as possible, and some nice straight grain hardwood, and no glue squeeze out, no gunk in there, nothing that's going to affect this when you're putting it up against a fresh cut piece of plywood edge to do the square cut. So that's pretty easy so far. Now I'm going to zero in on this hardware that there is on both ends. First of all, this is 3/4 inch plywood. This piece of hardware is a threaded insert. And I believe I drill a 1/2 inch hole to begin with, and then thread this insert in by using a 3/8 inch bolt, a couple of jam nuts, and then screwing it in, loosening the jam nuts, and screwing the bolt out. I also rounded over the head of this 1 inch bolt a little bit to make it easier for the track clips to fit on. And the nice thing about this is that this is reversible. I can turn this thing over and put this on the other side if I wanted to flip this thing over. But because I'm right-handed, I pretty much always want this on my left and the track out here on the right. So that's the first little piece of hardware. The second piece is this adjuster screw. And for that I'm using a 5/16 inch fine threaded insert. And that's inserted into the edge of this, right on the center line. And I'm drilling that hole about 1.5 inches deep, so that when this insert and the bolt are threaded in, it isn't going to bottom out. And you'll notice that I cut the hardwood out a little bit on the sides so that this cap screw would be recessed almost to just a little bit proud of being flush. It sticks out maybe a 32nd to a 1/16 of an inch. And that accepts an Allen wrench. When these are new, fresh out of the package, they turn pretty easy. So I take the bolt and peen it with a hammer just a little bit to flatten just a little bit of threads so that it stiffens up. It's not so easy to turn, so it's not going to rattle loose. And there's a set of those, another set on the other end down here for the track clip and for the adjustment. What's nice about these adjustments is now the track only hits, when you hitch the track up with the clips, it only touches the squaring device in 2 spots. This adjuster and the one on the other end. So you know that there's less chance that any nonsense, any sawdust, any wood chips, anything are gonna get in between your track and this edge. So it's only hitting on 2 spots. When any of this stuff isn't in use, I hang it up on a wall. If you just lean this stuff against the wall, being it's plywood, it's gonna develop a bow to it. So it's up and out of the way, and when you need it, you bring it down, you use it, and then put it back up. Now, the other nice thing about this is it's portable. I can take this, a set of these, and a couple other little things, and a set of sawhorses, and I could go out on the road and be set up in just a few minutes and take stuff down in a few minutes, rather than taking this whole bench, which is made to be portable, but there's 0 chance that I'm ever going to put all this in the back of my truck, take it someplace, set it up, all that time, it's heavy as hell. No, I'd rather take this. Once you have this made and you're actually making a squaring cut with it, you've already got your 2 long edges cut. They're both parallel to each other using the other tools, the parallel guides. And you're squared up one edge, and now you're squaring up the other edge. You're probably going to be off a little bit your first try. You know, you can take your Allen wrench, figure out which way you need to go, which way this track needs to go, and just turn your adjusters. I found that using these fine thread adjusters, turning them 1/4 of a turn will make a 1/32 of an inch adjustment on a full sheet 4x8 foot sheet of plywood. So if you're off a 1/16 of an inch on your diagonals, once you make your squaring cuts, like a 1/2 turn should bring you right on line. And because these are fine thread, you can dial this in till you actually split the line on your measuring tape. So it's very accurate. I use it all the time, and I think that's, oh, by the way, this is not, this piece that I've got set up, obviously it isn't a full sheet of plywood, but it goes to show that I can use this on smaller sheets. This is my crosscut sled for the table saw. It'll handle a 24-inch wide piece, but anything wider than that, I mean, it'll handle whatever length, is no problem, but if it's wider than 24 inches, I pull this out. So even a small sheet, 26 by 26, I bring this out and it'll square it up perfectly. So it's not just for full sheets, it's for breaking down, squaring up any size sheet. Some people have said that they buy their sheet goods, they have the lumberyard cut them up into manageable pieces so they can get them home. Well, now you got a manageable piece, you can fit it in the back of your car, but when you get it home, how are you going to square it up if you don't have something to square it with? So this works real well for large sheets and smaller sheets.